We're exploring further today how a person with social anxiety disorder develops fears and social phobia, why it happens, and learning through exercises and some techniques of understanding and rebuilding relationships. And through the techniques, you and I will be rebuilding relationships with ourselves and with other people. I hope you've tried shifting your attention to the world around you, trying things out, considering, observing. Instead of being fixated on yourself, observe the world around you. Have you tried it? This way, by having new experiences, you will both feel differently and you will be able to build relationships with other people more easily. How do you feel afterwards? Social phobia is a fixation on oneself basically. A person fixates on himself all the time, experiences negative feelings, creates thoughts about himself as if someone is evaluating him. The person with social anxiety disorder has isolated themselves from other people. Other people have participated in this too, but he continues to do it further on his own. Thus, he has such feelings. It is scary to communicate with people. It is scary to be in proximity to them. It is scary to talk. Suddenly, they will evaluate. Suddenly they will realize that I am not quite normal, that there is something wrong with me. Suddenly they will see that my hands are shaking, that I picked the wrong word. What if they see something wrong with my face or my appearance? We are afraid all the time then. And, of course, this comes from being developmentally delayed. We know that healthy development, growing up, is when we are helped to adapt to the world around us. When we are given the opportunity to socialize with the people around us, given the opportunity to build our interests into groups that are appropriate for us. That is, parents would provoke these groups and give such support, and we would acquire those skills of communication and independence that we need. And at each stage of our development, those skills would grow. But that often doesn't happen. And parents do not realize that development and adaptation to society is necessary, and not to adjust to themselves. It is necessary to adjust to society so that the child learns to live in society, to communicate, to talk about himself, to defend his rights, to protect his boundaries, to interact, to play games, to create something in common, to find friends and peers in his interests. Then the child adapts to the society. He has, besides family and parents, close people different, with whom he satisfies his needs and desires. The child learns to speak, laugh, satisfies his needs in different interests, occupies his own space in the society, and most importantly, the child acquires communication skills. What doesn't happen? Often parents live by rules and impose rules on their children. Such parents adjust only to themselves, afraid to let go. They are afraid that the child will become different and make him obedient and comfortable. The child then sits and learns lessons only or does household chores. He is forbidden to socialize with peers, is not allowed to invite home to play games. Parents do not give the opportunity to play somewhere on the playgrounds, and such a child does not adapt. Then not enough past these stages of socialization, and thus the person begins to suffer. Let's talk a little more about anxiety. So, what are we afraid of because of what happened? This full adaptation has not happened. We lack some skills. We don't know how to get acquainted. We don't know how to talk about ourselves. We don't know how to interact. We don't know how to create common ground. We don't know how to fit into a group. We don't understand ourselves. We don't know our values, interests. What's important to us? To learn about ourselves. First of all, to take direction, examine ourselves. Who am I? What are my values, my interests? What do I want? How do I want to live my life? Who do I want to socialize with? What am I good at? My strengths. And so, based on our interests, we can find a group to socialize in. We already know what to talk about. If someone likes music, You'll see people who like music, and you can find common ground to talk about it. You saw a person who is even doing something somewhere that you know how to do, you can come up and talk about it. If you come to see some movie, you can also sit near and talk about that movie, make an acquaintance. If you are riding a bike, you pass someone next to you and someone stops, you can talk about it. By knowing your interests, you can find similar people. If a person doesn't know their interests, it's hard for them to socialize at all then and find their group. We need to find, as they say, our flock. We should define our values, define our interests, study ourselves more, and then we know in which direction we are moving.